Good morning, Jessup. Thank you for being here. For those of you who I do not know, my name is Christy Jewell, and I am Director of Career and Life Planning. And Mary Kono is Assistant Director of Career and Life Planning and your career counselor. It is Calling in Career Week. We partner 2 times each year with Campus Ministries to really make sure that our chapel programming and any co-curricular opportunities that we have focus on you knowing yourself better, how God uniquely created you, and then in the spring, kind of how we want to help you put on your big boy and big girl pants, and some practical ways that you should really be hearing and listening to for those next steps in your career readiness and engagement. So I'm going to invite up our panel. We have none of them are happy with the fact that we asked them to be up here today. And so if we can have them come up, Tommy might be more used to being in front of folks than anybody else. But everybody else said yes to us more under duress, and that's okay. We asked them to join us today because they have such great stories. And I was going to open us in prayer, but I don't really want to do that on top of what we just did for Keith and his family. But what I do want to stress to you, each of you, and to our panelists and why we asked them to be here, God uniquely created each and every one of us. He created skills and abilities and interests and characteristics that nobody else has the ability to live out like you have. And this panel, to me, their stories are great in terms of how they have decided to utilize their major and those gifts and interests that they uniquely have to make an impact in the world. And so they're not all traditional, and that's why they're here. So if I may start at the very end with the group, with introductions, could you please tell us your name, your major and your grad year, and what you're doing or plan to do with your major?
So my name is Tommy Dunham. I am a senior graduating this spring. Graduating this spring. I'm a business management major. I keep telling people this, if I had $1 for every time that someone asked me what I wanted to do with my major, I think I would be able to pay off all of my student loans. Because I think there's just a lot of opportunities and doors that have kind of come up, but I don't know for sure exactly what I want to do. In fact, I think, though, I do want to stay within more of the music industry, utilizing my major in that way.
So my name is Kayla. I graduated Jessup in 2017, and I have my Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, and I also took on the Bible and Theology minor. So I'm currently working for the Sacramento County Coroner's Office, and my official job title is a coroner technician, but I like to call myself a last responder. And so my job, my 2 main duties at my job, my first one is that I supervise and assist in forensic autopsies. And then the second part of my job is that I get dispatched out across the whole county of Sacramento to active death investigation scenes to provide transport to decedents back to our office.
My name is Josh Whitling, and I'm a business management major. This is my senior year. I'll be graduating this spring. And I currently work as a ranch hand, and so I don't really use my major every day, but I love the manager I work under, and so I'm continually learning more about the industry and what it looks like to be a ranch manager, and that is my eventual goal, to manage a cattle ranch.
Sorry, I'm nervous. Hi, my name's Shrill, but everybody calls me Ozzy. I'm currently a student athlete, so shout out student athletes. But this past fall, I internshiped at the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department for crimes against children. So I worked with sexual assault and sexual abuse. So a little bit of what I did was I did every CPS report that came in, I would put into the VPS system, which is like their master system at the Sheriff's Department. And also I got to work hand in hand with a detective on a case. So I listened to prison calls, and I plan to be a lawyer someday.
Hi, I'm Zach. Wow, that's loud. I graduated. Hey guys, I graduated last spring, 2021, with a general business major, and like many general business majors, I picked the most general thing I can think of because I don't know what I want to do. And in fact, I still don't know what I want to do. I actually finished my degree with an internship at Mosaic Christian Church in Rockland, shameless plug, as production and administration intern there for around 6 months. And then now I work here as an online admissions counselor. So we're kind of going all over the place, but super fun, super awesome, and I kind of get to use a little bit of what I learned in some of the aspects of the business degree within my job here, which is kind of nice, even though it's not necessarily what I thought I was going to be doing. So.
Good morning. I'm Sydney Fuentes. That's my mom. And I graduated kind of fall of 2020 / spring of 2021. Interesting story. But I wanted to be more specific than a general business major, but still didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I landed with a business management major, which is the next most general business degree you can get if you're curious. And I currently work at Adventist Health. I am placed in the Sonora market, and my official title is leadership resident. This picture is of me and 2 of my cohort. And basically I get to go through 4 to 5 different rotations, business, finance, operations, clinical operations, HR, and then business operations. I don't know if I said that, sorry guys. But basically I get to kind of just figure out what I want to do while doing it. So that's kind of the cool thing about what I'm doing. And shameless plug, Christy Jewell hooked me up with the job, so, so it's pretty cool.
Thank you, guys. Okay, we don't have to go in order on this next one, but I did want to have you see each of them in the scenario where they work. So feel free to answer this, any or all, in whatever order. This is important. What advice would you give to your freshman, sophomore, or junior self to better prepare for your career?
I'll start. What I would tell my younger college self, and really to all of you guys, is to really take the time and take advantage of your time here at Jessup to develop a very firm foundation in Christ. And I say this because a lot of you are going to graduate and you're going to go into the workforce, and it will be a secular workplace. And we need Christians in the secular workforce. And it's so important to develop that firm foundation, because that will equip you to be that salt and light that, you know, Christ has called us to be in these, you know, secular workplaces. Also, you guys may be the only Christian in your guys' workplaces. I know for myself, I am. And something else I want to add on too is I could not do my job well without having a biblical foundation to fall back on. And, you know, I don't mean to be like a Debbie Downer or anything, but every day I see evil, and I see, what I want to say is, like, Satan is at work and Satan is real. So it is so important for you guys here, and I want to just encourage you guys to not only have a firm foundation in Christ, but to really gain the tools and the knowledge and the weapons to fight off the enemy when you leave this place. Because we need more Christians in the workforce, truly. And you guys have I know it doesn't feel like it, but this is such a short snippet of your life and such a short season of your life. So I just want to encourage you guys, please take the time to gain the tools and the knowledge and really develop a firm foundation in Jesus.
Amen. That was fantastic. I would also say, piggybacking off that, intentionally grow, intentionally look for ways to grow in your faith, and then also be proactive in the way that you finish or start your degrees. If you're not sure what you want to do, like me, I was originally a math major my freshman year. The wrong decision, by the way. But try it, do something, and make a step forward in that direction, because if you don't take a step forward, you're never going to know if it's going to work or not. So keep trying different things until you land on something that you're like, hey, this is the thing that I want to do. For me, I'm still not there. I'm still trying new things. I'm still working at different places. And thankfully, I've come to a spot right now where I love and I enjoy working, and I grow every day, both in my faith and the way I work every day. So just keep trying new things and keep putting yourself out there to grow, because if you don't, you're never going to move anywhere.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of talking about it, but college is all about your perspective. And I think we need to start with the perspective that, one, college in general is a gift. And because we live in such a free nation, we get to, one, go to school, private school, and Christian school. And so with that, when you have that perspective, partner that with the perspective of building your college experience to promote yourself. You're here to learn and to help build yourself for where you want to go. So if you're a freshman or a sophomore or anybody and you don't know what you want to do, your first goal needs to be, what are my goals? And by setting that goal, you're giving yourself something to reach for. And when you have those goals and you can eventually build that dream, you can build your college experience to propel you towards that. And that is in every level, everything from choosing to go to school to what major you pick, what classes you take, even the topics of your projects. You have a lot of freedom. You can really customize what you're learning in order to promote yourself. And if you have that perspective, even things that may not seem like they apply, like maybe your general ed classes or your art classes, whatever you have to take, if you use that perspective, you can take those pieces and just let yourself think about it and say, okay, what is this piece of information going to affect my career and my dreams? Because it's all involved. And so by doing that, you can build an education where you can learn the most and get propelled into your dream.
And then I think to synthesize a lot of that, for me personally, I wish that when I was a freshman and a sophomore, I learned how to manage my time a little bit better. And like, I know everybody says that, but I'm talking more in the context of life as a whole, because we always talk about like, oh, well, you want to balance a social life, and you want to balance finding your career, and you want to balance your classes. I feel like, though, I hope I don't offend any professors out there, I think there's only so much learning that can happen within the classroom. And if you can actually take what you're learning and apply it to your strengths or your goals or your hobbies, I think that really gives you a step up from other people who maybe just choose to kind of sit back, do the studies, and then graduate. I think if you really get out there and start applying what you're learning, it's much more advantageous.
Going off what you were saying, my best advice for my freshman, sophomore self would be internship, internship, internship. No one's ever gonna tell you you have too much experience. And I think, like, as a freshman and a sophomore, you don't really know what you wanna do with your degree. So that's why you intern. You can intern anywhere, any place, so you can get that experience and that hands-on and apply those skills that you've learned in the classrooms.
I want to build on that a little bit. Internships are so important because it helps you find your passion, and also equally as important, finds what you're not passionate about, the worst thing that you can do is go into a workforce and not know what you're passionate about. And I know that's said so often, but if you're not passionate about the work that you do and the thing that you're studying now, you're not going to be passionate about it when you leave. The only thing that's my saving grace is that I'm passionate about learning how to run a business and doing so effectively, and that's why I love what I do now. But if I had not been passionate about my classes when I was learning them, then I would not be passionate about my job now. So I would also take that to be, don't be afraid to take risks and change your direction. My freshman and sophomore self wanted to be a psychology major, but I chose business because I wasn't sure if I was passionate about it, and I think that was the best decision I ever made, so.
Thank you, guys. So can you talk about how you found your job or internship, and did it come from you applied for something on Indeed, so were you doing it through a website? Was it through a referral or network? Tell me a little bit about the process of where you are now. That's not asking for a shameless plug from.
So like I said earlier, I actually found out about my job through Christy. Christy is, first of all, a great person to have in your network. Second of all, a great mentor if you don't have one. She's a great person, and that's not me shamelessly plugging her. That's just the that's just the truth. But Christy sets up all of these opportunities to do mock interviews, real interviews, and puts a lot of effort into, with her whole team even. Mary Cano is a great person to know as well. And so I got my job because she's intentionally partnering with businesses outside in the real world, and then helping you guys apply for it. So I think that the way that I found it was through Christy's really hard work, and I'm really grateful that I got that opportunity. But more so, it was from constantly just maintaining understanding of what Jessup offers you, because they have a lot of networking opportunities.
I'm gonna piggyback off that. Christy did not necessarily directly affect where I got my internship, but she kept talking me about getting an internship, which did affect me getting an internship. I went into, I remember sophomore year Mary coming into my class and being like, don't forget, sign up for internships. And I was like, that's for junior, senior year. And then senior year comes around, I'm like, that's second semester, last minute kind of thing. And then I ended up not getting an internship. And but I was able to graduate, which was nice, but I had to finish it in the summer, and then summer turned into the fall. And so I technically didn't get my degree until this past semester, which was cool, but I should have done it sooner. So she was great in that way, but I actually got my internship at Mosaic, like I said, and that's not where I was looking for it. I just was working there in production for a while, and then at one point I was like, hey, can we make this an internship? I just need my degree. And they're like, let's do it. So they added administration and made it more business related. And so if you're working somewhere and it's not necessarily in your major, maybe take a chance and say, hey, is there a way that we can fit this into what I'm learning at school? Is there a way to make this my internship? Is there a way to, because if you're passionate about it, like she said, if you're passionate about it, nothing's off limits. It's going to be great. So just keep putting yourself out there. And then I actually got this job here through Instagram. Someone posted it, so they were like, hey, if you're interested, if you need a job, there's a job. And I said, I need a job. And so that's how I got here, but it ended up being amazing. The people here are great. And I think that's a big part of it, is finding community in your work. I don't know what I want to do, and so my basis by getting a job is, do I like the people that I work with? And if I like the people that I work with and I don't necessarily know what I want to do, that's a great start, and kind of growing from there and then finding it along the way.
Luckily, I was able to have Keith Bolte as my mentor. So Keith is actually the person that set me up with my internship. So shout out to Keith. But I remember coming up to him when I first came to Jessup, because I'm a transfer, and I was like, I want to work at the DA's office. I was like, I just want to work at the DA's office. Can you get me an internship at the DA's office? And he was like, we'll see. And so I kept bugging him, and then finally he was like, all right, I have this internship. I think you're perfect for it. I'm going to give her your number, and if it works out, it works out. And I was like, okay, whatever. It's not the DA's office, whatever. But so then he set me up with Sacramento Sheriff's Department, and I was like, okay, I guess it was pretty fun and it was pretty cool. And the great part about it is that I was able to network. So now I have a detective as my reference, and then I have an in at Sacramento County Sheriff's Department. So future job, there we go.
I knew from day one that my internship was going to be hard to find because I've yet to meet another business major who likes taking care of cows. And so I contacted Christy real early. I was like, all right, Christy, here's the plan. She was like, well, I don't know about that, but we'll give her a shot. And so lots of emails, lots of online lists of just, people weren't looking for a business major who wanted to take care of cows. So I was just contacting people with cows and saying, I want to come take care of these cows, and I'm going to turn this into an internship. And so lots of emails, lots of phone calls. And then Christy actually got me connected with the Placer County Ag Commissioner, which is kind of cool. If you're an ag person, that's really cool. And he gave my name to like another 10 ranches. So I was probably at 20, 30, 40 places. And from those 10 places, I got 9 no's and 1, I'll meet you. Is that helpful? And so I actually got to take a tour and meet this cool ranch manager named Joe Fisher. And he gave me this awesome, super in-depth tour, and we talked all about how he manages his business and what it takes and why it's so weird that a business major wants to take care of cows. And we talked all the way through it. And then at the end, he's like, man, you're a great guy. This is awesome. I don't have a spot for you. And I was like, well, this was really fun. I enjoyed myself. It was cool. And I remember I called my sister when I got in the car, and I was like, this place is exactly what I need, but it doesn't have a spot. And so I just took that as, okay, this place exists, maybe another place exists. And I just kept looking, and that was in November, I think. And then mid-December, Joe calls me back. He's like, hey, I had a guy quit. You still want to come? And I was like, yes, please. So started 7 days before the semester started, and that turned straight into a job that I still have today. And it has dramatically changed my life. So I'm very grateful.
So let's back up. So I went through Jessup's psychology program, and I was on the track to becoming a marriage and family therapist. That's what I wanted to do, went through the program, had my ducks in a row, all that good stuff. So then I take biopsych in my last semester at college, which is taught by Dr. Trowbridge, shout out, love her. And I took that class, and I was really anxious about it, and I was scared because not only is it's a psychology class, but it was more so a very heavy biology class. So I was really nervous. So I get into the class, and I'm like loving what I'm learning. I'm like, this stuff is awesome, this is great. But then we had a lab portion of the class where we worked with a human medical cadaver. And this is the first time I am seeing a decedent that is not related to me or at a funeral. I am looking at a decedent in a medical, clinical sense. And from that point forward, I was like, I don't want anything to do with therapy anymore. I want to do this, whatever this is. I didn't know at the time. And really how I found my internship, so I knew that I wanted to get into death care, but I knew I didn't want to do funeral home stuff because I was going to lose out on that biology piece that I, just found out that I was interested in. So I was just kind of looking around online, seeing what was available, and I thought, oh my gosh, what about the coroner? So random. So I looked, and they had internship opportunities for post-grad, which was when I did my internship, and then also for students as well. So I applied, and I wish this was the same for everyone, but my internship process of getting in was really seamless, and I got in, and I did my internship for a year, and really, it just confirmed what I already knew, that I loved this field.
Because we're up against time, I don't want to step over what Tommy's going to say, but there's an important question I want to ask you guys as we wrap this up. And not everybody has to answer it, but if you have something, I think it's important to share. Because most of you aren't serving in traditional vocational ministry. So, in what ways have you integrated your faith into your work, and how do you steward your gifts and talents in a secular setting in your work?
This is the question I was most excited to answer. And I could literally talk about how much like faith and my job like coexists and integrate like all day, but I will leave you guys with this. So there's a verse in Proverbs, it's Proverbs 31, 8-9, and I'm gonna like try to paraphrase it, but you know, it talks about how we are to be a voice for folks who do not have a voice, and to seek justice for the oppressed, and to defend the vulnerable. And I think we can all say that we see Jesus do this so well in his ministry and his time here on earth. And for me, that's really the heartbeat behind what I do at my job. For me, it is like such an honor and really just a duty to take care of victims of evil, true, honest evil. And, you know, these victims may not have a verbal voice, but they are telling a story of what happened to them, and their body is telling us what happened to them, and your body doesn't lie. So for me, it is such an honor to be able to take care of these folks and to help facilitate that justice process of finding out what happened to them and really just taking care of them in their most vulnerable state.
I think this question is really interesting, and I think about it a lot. Every time when I think about it, though, I always come back to that old metaphor that we've all heard of be like the moon, right? And I think it's interesting to pick that apart in that if you look at just the moon, it's just this big, cold rock. It's really desolate. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere, and it doesn't have a clear purpose. But as soon as the sun's light hits the moon, all of a sudden the moon is putting off heat, it's putting off light, and it has an obvious purpose. It is shedding light into the darkness. And I think that draws a clear parallel to our lives as well, because before we are saved, I think you could say we are cold, dead, desolate, and maybe without a clear purpose. But through faith and salvation, because of the power of the gospel, God is enlightening us. And through that, we get the opportunity to shed the light of God's truth and love. And so I know, especially where I work, I won't be able to share the gospel in word with every person I meet, but I also know that if I live my faith out daily, that the power and transformation of the gospel will be shown in every interaction I have. So that's my personal goal, is to shed that light of God's truth and love into the darkness that's around me.
Anybody else want to finish that out? I really appreciate each one of you and the contribution you made today and that you're making in your fields of influence. And you will find that growing so exponentially over the next 5-10 years of your life. I look forward to hearing your stories told. Can we give a round of applause and thanks for them?